Good morning, everyone. I just want to take a few minutes to talk about the excitement that the shepherds have for the upcoming year. We have gathered together, and our idea is to, before we begin, as we make our plans and we cast our vision for Lifewalk, we wanted to have some kind of time where we as a congregation, we spend time in prayer and we dedicate ourselves to that. I want to talk about a 5-week uh, prayer event that we want to have everyone participate in to kind of launch us into our future. That's what I want to talk about. When I was a kid, my favorite Bible character by far was David, a man after God's own heart. Every story, it seemed like, where David was involved is one of adventure, of challenge, of overcoming, and things like that. Not a perfect man, but definitely one of my favorites. And it's obvious that as you're a kid, if you're a young boy, the story of David and Goliath had a profound effect on me. I love that story. I love the way that David dealt with God, with the enemy, with people around him, and doubters. And as I thought about our prayer event, I want to center our focus and our structure around the story of David and Goliath. One of the things that struck me, I don't know if you thought about this, but when David went to face the giant, what did he take with him? A sling, and he went and got 5 smooth stones. Why 5? Didn't he just need the one? Well, he decided to take 5 smooth stones and put that in his arsenal to bring that as a weapon against the huge giant, the huge opponent that he faced. And that's what I want us to approach our prayer event um, using the premise of 5 smooth stones, as we, in our day and age, are facing a time of uncertainty, of impossibility, of an unseen foe that we've never encountered before. David had never seen anything like Goliath before. It was unthinkable that a boy, would face him, and yet he was able to overcome with his 5 smooth stones. David was up to the challenge with those 5 smooth stones that he took into that battle. And that's what I want to also focus in, is the word up. There's 5 things that David brought to the battle besides the stones. Smooth stone number 1, he knew how to look up. Knew how to look up. David had a very unique, very intimate relationship with God. And so in week 1, we want to focus on God, his greatness, his characteristics. As David said, I lift my eyes up into the hills where my strength will come from, because God is my help. And so in the first week of our prayer event, we want to focus on God, his characteristics, his quality, because he is going to be the source of all the answers to our challenges that we face, giants or small things. God is going to be the resource that we use. Smooth stone number 1. Smooth stone number 2, David knew how to size up. He knew how to look at what was in front of him and put it in the proper perspective. If you look at the account of David and Goliath, man, it spends a lot of words and time describing Goliath's size, his armor, his weaponry, how large it was, how oversized, and just very, very impressive. And yet David looked at simply just a large man, but he faced him with a larger God. So David knew how to size up. And so what we want to look at in week 2 is to understand that no matter what we face in front of us, that God is the solution to all of it. That we are not, none of our problems are too big that we can't handle. So in week number 2, we want to focus on how to size up. Smooth stone number 3, David knew how to stand up. He knew, and he was moved to action when he heard the enemies of God mocking him, mocking their people. David took it personally. He internalized it, and he made it his business. And so we want to focus on internalizing the problems that are of the world, and what are we going to start to look inside? How does that make me feel? What is my reaction to all of this? Do I feel overwhelmed? Do I feel when something is so large that I shrink? So we want to start to look at ourselves And are we, in the face of these giant issues that we have in the weird 2020 times that we live in, are we ready to stand up as a people? So we want to focus on week 3 on that smooth stone, how to stand up and understand that we make it personal when we go to fight for our God. Smooth stone number 4 is David showed up. He made himself available. Who's going to go? Send me. I will fight the giant on behalf of God's people. You see what happens when one person will show up to fight? Yeah, the availability of God's people, and when times are tough, when challenges are before them, it could be everything it just takes for somebody to show up. So we want to focus on us as a body. Have we been showing up in face of the problems that we've had, not just of the world, but maybe as a group of people over the last couple of years? We want to really focus on smooth stone number 4, to show up. Last one, smooth stone number 5, is David knew it was time to move up. The Goliath incident in his life propelled him to a life of great success and a great blessing as God's leader of his people. Are we ready for that kind of success? Are we ready for the promises that God is ready to fulfill in our lives? If we make ourselves available, if we stand up, if we size up, and if we look up, well, those are some things that our future could hold for us, and we hope holds for us, and we know that God promises the life that we have signed up for. So in a nutshell, those are the 5 weeks that we will flesh out. We'll break into smaller groups. We'll ask everybody to participate. We'll have a daily theme that we'll release to you. And we are praying that God will lead us to start with this situation where God leads us into greater and greater things. Thank you, and happy holidays, by the way. I hope you had a great time with family and you didn't eat too much. We'll talk to you all later.